Too many words and not enough time. That's what's coming up next on the Morning Waffle right after this.
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Good morning, Beth.
Finally, we're here.
Hi, Beth. Thanks for.
She was on top of it. Of course, we were kind of late. We were fixing the set.
Yeah. It's a little. So our good
Flipping
friend Alex
tacos.
Bryant that does the show after this at 9, he put Trump in place of our waffles, which is fine. I mean, our tacos.
Tacos,
We wanted our tacos
We want our
back.
tacos back.
So
Because everybody loves breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
I may need to put a nail up there so it's a little easier to switch the pictures.
Switch them out.
Yeah.
That is kind of a good idea. That way you can switch a switcheroni.
Well, like those, a lot of those over there are on.
The reality was I couldn't, like many others, I couldn't take the heat of Trump over my shoulder. It was just too much.
It's pretty hot.
It was
a lot of oversight.
A lot of
Right.
oversight. I couldn't,
Not gonna make it any more pennies.
and I couldn't
Yeah.
handle it. Like
is
many
huge.
others, I couldn't handle the oversight.
It's going to be things exposed. It's huge on the waffle.
No more pennies.
It's not your right to know how we spend the
Oh
money.
my gosh.
It is a frozen
the
waffle today, Beth.
stupidity. I'm sorry. I try to like moderate.
Yeah, no,
my
I'll come in.
opinion
I'll come in
sometimes,
2 foot on this one.
But the stupidity of somebody saying there's nothing in the Constitution that allows the citizens to see how we're spending their money. I'm sorry, but there actually is.
One of the most outrageous statements
Who
I've
said that?
ever heard.
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren
Oh,
did.
for Pete's sake.
Says the citizens have no business knowing how we're spending their money.
Just give us our money. You don't need to know what we do with it.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
The most-
What?
That one and
That is the
somebody
problem.
who's not been elected can't be a part of the process is
Yeah.
really also a
How many outside
Dumbfounded.
contractors
oh,
have been hired?
this is how government works and has
Yeah.
for
all the
Yeah.
time.
but we don't like that one. So
Well, and here's the thing. So
This really
some people don't know this, although it's readily available. It's easy to find out. DOGE is not a new department. It is the U.S.
Interesting.
Digital Services that Obama created.
it's been renamed. Yeah.
and just renamed it as the Department of Government Officials.
It
Oh.
expanded, to be fair, expanded responsibilities a little bit,
little
but
bit.
Some oversight.
Yeah.
yeah.
Little bit.
I mean, it was
but much needed.
It was already an unelected group working out of the White House doing digital oversight. They were the ones doing the digital
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you know what successful people and successful companies do?
Hire outside
They
people
hire
to watch
outside.
their books.
Yeah. Hey, would you come audit our books? Would you come audit our processes?
I mean,
would you come, it's just what successful people do. Come tell me what I'm not seeing because I'm in
Yeah.
the woods. I can't see the trees.
What I think
right?
the hysteria shows us, or should allow us to know, is there is not going to be a defense for those people to say, I didn't know. Because if they didn't know that this fraud was going on, they wouldn't be so desperate to hide it.
Oh yeah, I 100%
Right.
agree with that.
So
yeah.
I think that I don't think they can sit back and go, oh, golly gee, I had no idea. Because if you had no idea, why is your hair on fire?
Yeah.
That somebody's going to find out what you've been doing.
Aren't you curious too? If you don't know what it is, wouldn't
Yeah,
you like
no
to know as
kidding.
well?
Well, yeah, man, I tell you, when people tell you don't look, like, there's nothing to see here.
We
It's
have
just,
this covered.
Wow.
We've got this
Wow.
covered. You can
So,
leave now. We'll handle
Here's
this.
the other thing that's just absolutely unbelievable. You've got a federal judge that has now blocked the Secretary of Treasury from inspecting the books of the Treasury. Like the guy in charge, it's like telling Bill Gates you have no business looking into the ledgers of Microsoft.
Right.
It's like we don't care that it's yours and you're the CEO and you're in charge.
Pretty sure that's why I'm
We're
here.
blocking
I think-
you from looking at the books.
I do it like
Nonsense.
it is a little tricky because there's all of this information is getting pushed out rapidly by so many different things and outlets, and I almost do wish things were being funneled in a little more, and maybe there is and I'm just not aware of it.
Follow Doge on X.
Okay, is that what I'm not getting on Twitter. I'm not, sorry, X. I don't want another thing in my life.
Well, drop something else because
I know I need
X is
I need something.
beautiful.
It's anyway, but it's
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Lauren's like,
But-
I'm saying no.
No, I don't want to do that.
Well, if you're not on there, how do you know?
I don't need more distractions in my life on
Okay.
going down the rabbit hole.
well, it's good for
I
that.
spend enough time doing that in other ways. But so I would like it. Okay, let's say everybody knows Wednesday the latest stuff is coming out, and they push it out in a organized press release situation. Because here's what's happening in my mind, and this is the problem with social media in general, is information gets so diluted so quickly, and then you have all these kind of fringe organizations and spinning things. And so then even if you do have something that is very newsworthy and very interesting and very important for everyone to know, it's already been like rinsed, washed, and repeated 25
Right.
times, and so you feel like you don't know what to believe
Well,
ever.
yeah, no.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Because it actually takes a little more work now to get real
Yeah,
The
it,
truth,
it takes
yeah.
like a hard work. It's not a little. It's hard work
yeah.
to get.
It is
like,
very hard work to tease it all out and try to
Yeah.
find
and I mean,
let's
be honest,
source.
most U.S. citizens don't have the bandwidth to or
No.
desire
or the ability
To
or the
dig
training,
Well,
through
and
the
it.
again,
education.
it goes back to what we've talked about before, where the system is so overcomplicated.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take that much work to try
Correct.
to make sense of
Well,
all
let
this.
me make
But
it easy. Just follow me on X and
worship's got it.
I'll
the
parse it.
There you go, you've
infallible
convinced
word
me.
of
parse it all
worship.
down.
You've
for you.
convinced. I
I'll
needed
make
to
it
hear.
simple.
I needed to hear more from worship.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
It's kind of like what we were talking about
Well-
before, which was like, okay, if Doge or whoever says we cut 147 billion for LGBTQ musical in Ireland.
Yeah, which is one of the things.
Okay, so that's
yeah,
one of the
wherever
things.
it is. Yeah.
And then when the opposition screams, fake information, false information, misinformation, and you look and see what their complaint is that wasn't USA, that was the State Department. And like, okay.
Somebody spent the money.
Okay,
It's still our tax dollars.
It's still our tax
Yeah.
dollars, and the core of the post was still true. The government is wasting
Yeah,
your tax
that's
money.
like-
And so that's about as deep
Yeah.
as I need to go. It's
That's-
your best complaint.
Yeah.
Is it was the index finger instead of the middle finger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's be like in our employees
same
at, our
hand.
employees at Storytime Coffee Company would never do this, but it would be like somebody saying, "I didn't steal from the cash register. I stole from the tip jar."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, Brad didn't buy the beer for the miners. Larry did.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Shared account.
We don't like Brad or Larry. Like, we don't care.
It's it's just outrageous, but you're right. And so there's always that's the classic comeback, right? Disinformation, misinformation.
Or you're a Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
or ad
like,
hominem.
here's okay. I have a good example of this. I have a really good real-time example of this situation. So their chronic wasting was discovered in some deer in Texas County, right, which is where I'm from. My family owns land there.
Chronic wasting disease.
Chronic wasting
And you gotta
disease.
stop
Which
that stuff.
I thought you were talking about government spending.
Well,
so
there-
go back to, sorry.
It's also chronic.
Okay, yes. Okay,
I
so-
literally did. But I was like, oh, she's talking about CWD.
Chronic wasting
Got it.
disease, yes.
Yeah, for the deer.
Okay, so they Missouri Department of Conservation finds it in a deer population. They test some deer, they find it. Okay, so they are now, and I don't know
You gotta
all
stop
of
that stuff.
It ain't no good.
Yeah, it's bad. It'll kill the herd.
It ain't no good, and so it's a nasty thing, and so. Okay, so they've discovered this, and they're like, we probably, and I don't know all the details of this, so I could be wrong. If we have an expert on here, they're probably going to call me out. So they send a letter to landowners in that area, a long list of landowners. Hey, we have decided to do this to try to find out the sampling of the population, which is to allow landowners to hunt on their property to take some deer, a limited amount, or
Unlimited amount.
a limited.
No, I think it's unlimited.
no, it's not.
Well, it's a stupid high limit then. Like you,
It's not. No, it's not
Okay.
because my family has 300 acres and they're allowed to take 3 deer.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right. Because I talked to somebody else that basically was like, we can go pile them up. We can.
I don't think that's.
Okay.
I don't think that's true. I think,
Well, I need to go back and do some
We're gonna
reading.
need a
Yeah.
fact checker.
Yep.
and I could be wrong as
We need
well.
we need community
because-
notes.
and maybe I'm misunderstanding the situation. Maybe it depends on the person, the circumstances. But first of all, it was a limited area, right? And you contacted conservation, and you could allow them to come hunt on your land, or you could do it, right? Well, in the nature of being a family that's always been involved in the conservation of wildlife in Missouri, including my grandfather helping repopulate the wild turkey population.
Thank you to your
himself.
grandfather.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My family decided to participate on their terms in the way they want to and not allow conservation to come do it, but we will handle it. And I believe they received you go 3 deer. Or maybe they volunteered to get 3 deer.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know. I don't know what it was. So there is this Facebook page that is like blasting all of this information out, and it's called, I'm not going to get deeply into that because I don't even want to call it out, but basically that, calling out these landowners for participating because we're trying to slaughter the population, the whole deer population, and make us all,
Yep.
like, I think the whole conspiracy is so people starve, I think. In essence,
They're trying to drive up the price of deer meat.
I don't know. Okay, but here's the problem, and they're speaking in these terms on that this is a let's say conservative outlet. Guys, telling a landowner what they can do with their own property is so anti-conservative.
Yeah.
It is the opposite of conservative.
Yeah.
You cannot sit there and tout yourself as a conservative organization if you are and I guess they're shaming is technically what they're doing, but that's not a conservative either.
Yeah.
You have private landowners, which our whole country is based off of this idea of private land ownership, right?
Yep.
And you're going to sit there and tell them, this is what you need to do with your land that I do not own.
Yeah.
Well, and
it's
that-
really
you know,
interesting because
it is
I
really
used to own a pond, and there were no regulations, what I do with the fish in my pond. I had an overpopulation of bass, so I would take the dinks that I would catch and dispose of them. I wasn't going to eat them because the water quality wasn't good.
Yeah.
So, but if I do that at Table Rock Lake, I'll get a hefty fine. What's interesting is I can do that with my pond and the fish in my pond, but I can't do that with the deer and the turkey on a piece of property that I own.
Well,
You know,
that raises a good question because I really agree. I mean, it's your land. Why can't I do whatever I want?
If
on
I
my land?
if I exterminate all the deer on my land and have no more deer to hunt, that's my little parcel. That's on me, right?
And I think that makes sense until you go, well, I own 2,000 acres and I just took out half the deer in the state.
Yeah.
And
I'm not
Or, I
against
mean,
regulation.
there's-
I'm making a point that
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
It's-
arguing against my real principles here, but I do get
I'm
the
for
point.
conservation and
Yeah.
I'm for certain regulation, just like we
Yeah.
are with oversight
Yep.
in terms of big business too. It's not like we're against all oversight.
Well, and I mean, it's realistic to at some level restrict what you can do on your own property because I mean, if I can lure somebody on my property, I can't kill them just because they're on my property
Sure.
unless they're there
Yeah.
for nefarious
Yeah.
purposes. So we obviously put some restrictions there, and it does make sense that we would go, listen, we don't want anybody to kill all the deer just because,
that's what happened. I mean,
they
that's
planted all the deer.
Yeah,
It's like, okay,
yeah.
well, fine. If I can just get them on my land, I can do whatever I want. Well, I'm just going to plant corn, and I'm going to attract all the deer, and I'll kill all the deer if I want to do that. So, this program obviously is appropriate. It's perfect. It's exactly what's needed, and nobody's
is it
complaining
perfect?
about it.
No, because nothing is. But I think my whole
good.
problem is I think this gets back to this is what you're focused on and upset about.
Somebody watched too much Bambi.
This
Right,
is
yeah.
not. This is not the problem, people. The fact that you've got thieves stealing from people, and you've got children who can't get food because their parents are on meth, and people who can't pay their bills because their insurance and property taxes and everything just went up. Let's focus on that stuff.
That might be worth our frustration.
Not attacking the people who have been part of the solution for a really long time.
And just what got me about that whole thing, because I bounced off of it on social media and saw it a little bit. It's just like, I don't even know how you could be upset about this program if you actually understand what's going on.
Yeah, we're trying to eliminate
you've got a
diseased deer.
disease that's going to rip through and wipe out the entire deer population of the state unless you cull it.
Oh, and the other side of this too is currently there's been no evidence of it going to humans. If you ended up with that situation,
that's just a matter of time. Usually
we got big problems.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's weird too because it's a protein.
If
it's
humans have chronic wasting disease, that really sounds like The Walking Dead.
No joke. So, so there are times where you need to address things. Illnesses jumping from animals to humans and other animals have caused lots of
that ever happened
problems
before?
Historically. Yeah. So,
We should do some research in a lab and see if we can make it happen to see how it works.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. And, and the whole egg thing,
that was
right?
good.
Isn't part of the problem with the price of eggs bird flu right
Yeah.
now?
Well,
right?
so they say.
So they say,
Yeah.
allegedly. So I don't know. My whole point is like,
When will we learn?
often these kind of whistleblower entities, I'm circling back around here, have a good thought in mind, but I think sometimes they get way too distracted in the hype versus sharing accurate
Follow the money.
information. And maybe they can go out and slaughter deer, and maybe my family just chose to do 3 tags. I don't know, right? But
Follow the money.
and then the other point to that is how many deer get hit on the highway every day in Missouri. Come on, let's be realistic.
Well, I think what we need to remember is that there are dangerous ditches on both sides of the road.
Yes.
And so for my right-leaning friends, which are the majority of my friends.
Yeah, that's the majority of people here.
Majority of people in Southwest Missouri. Yeah, thank you for bringing clarity to that, because I don't want to sound like because I actually do have many friends on the other side of that road. There are dangerous ditches on both sides. So in your attempt to steer the car, I always go back to when Shane and I were dating. She just about lost her life.
Yeah.
Is her tire went off the road. Had she let off the accelerator, been calm, she would have been fine. But there was an overcorrection.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, and that's what caused her car to flip multiple times. That gets us in trouble so often, is the overcorrection, the jerk of the wheel, and you just end up in the other ditch. And so we need to be careful when we call out these. We should have questions. We should investigate. But sometimes we just are so reactionary to just go so far the other way. We're no better off.
We've been driving with one tire off the left side of the road for a long time.
For
100%.
sure. So let off the gas, and it will be much easier to put it back on the road and safely continue your journey.
I gotta
Once
say
you get
this,
on
though.
the road, get after it.
You ready?
Yeah, and I was going to say that earlier.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the attacks, what's been fun about what's happened in the last 3 weeks, and it's been well planned, it's coming so fast. They
I
can't
didn't expect
keep.
that.
They can't keep up. They don't know which one to attack because it's just
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, and it's
Blitzkrieg.
Yep, it is a
Yeah.
blitzkrieg. I don't know if we want to use that language, but
It's a great word.
it is a great word.
Yeah.
And we use it in soccer as well.
And the other great word for this time is Schadenfreude.
Yeah, Schadenfreude
A lot of
works as well.
Schadenfreude.
But speaking German in this context is probably not our
Probably
best
not.
play.
With a John Lamb. Wow. As a Chinese.
I gotta read.
I just all I could think of was Wayne's World when you spoke Chinese right there.
That's all. I love Wayne's World.
Oh, I speak Mandarin.
Bring back Wayne's World. I love Wayne's World. I do have to read Beth's funny comment. It came off the egg conversation. I made chicken caviar over the weekend. Deviled eggs. I love that. The caviar of chicken. Deviled eggs.
I made homemade
Deviled
wings
I love
for
it.
the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about
We
that.
had some wings.
I don't think anybody. I saw our good friend Jess Barnes in the bank yesterday.
Oh, bless her heart. Yeah.
And everybody said, "Don't say anything.
Don't talk to
Don't
Jess."
talk to Jess. Don't talk to Jess."
Who's a delightful human.
It is, but yeah.
Is
Yeah.
she an Eagles fan? What's
No,
up?
she's
no.
a huge Chiefs fan.
Oh, okay.
Huge Chiefs fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Jess.
Super Bowl was a blast. The Super Bowl.
Oh yes.
The-
Saturday.
The real
that was
event.
Fun.
Yeah.
The main event.
Had we
really.
only known at the time that it was not going to get any better
Tell
than
you
not
that.
what,
gonna get any
We
better.
showed up to play.
Yeah, we did. We
Glad
did.
somebody showed up.
We had
Maybe I
a good
shouldn't be
time.
wearing a
And
green
Sue,
Oh, look at
this
you!
week.
Wow.
Sue took the crown for
Sue
the
did.
best soup.
Very
And
I
much
saw that and I
well-deserved.
just kind of like, of course
Uh-huh,
she did.
Of course she did.
course.
Yes, it was. Her soup was delicious. Emma's soup was good. Well,
You know,
I'm pretty
some
sure.
amateur competitions don't allow professionals to play. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're happy to go head to head with it because it was fun. We had a good
Oh,
time.
man.
And Lauren basically brought pasta. She
I love a good
she brought a
lasagna
lasagna.
Oh, it was so dirty.
Was it lasagna
Like I put. Oh yeah, but I mean, I in essence was
But
like
pretty thick.
because here's my deal with soup. Soup is never exciting to me. Soup with toppings, I can get behind that,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
I can't just get down on a bowl of watery soup, like a cream soup. There's got to be bread involved. I just it's soup, right? And I think it's very hard to make a really tasty hearty soup.
I love a hearty soup.
I mean, but it is
Something that- a
there's an
meal
art to
soup.
it.
You should
Yeah,
try my
meal soup.
vegetable beef. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know. Jesse said it was really good. And so I'm like, how can I make soup that I'm going to be happy with and still not have to, spend I spent a lot of time doing it, but it wasn't too bad. But so I made lasagna soup, and then I made homemade pesto and made ricotta to go with it, and focaccia bread.
Now I'm really sad. So
know.
I was here and I was teaching. I had to teach Friday night and Saturday morning, and I knew I had to get up and preach twice on Sunday morning. So you hear the deepness, the depth of
Yeah.
my voice. I just wanted to go home and not talk the rest of the day.
That's
So
fair.
that's the
Yeah.
only reason I didn't
Yeah.
come down. But I should have come and snuck a bowl of soup and then left.
Snuck a
Sounds
bowl,
like,
It
Yeah.
would have been good.
but I didn't
Yeah.
want to have to use my voice anymore.
Oh, man.
It would. Emma made nacho cheese dip.
It was basically cheese dip in soup form. It was delicious. It was a
great.
It was a bacon jalapeno popper soup, and it
Hey, Emma,
was.
we're
it
talking
was
about your
delightful.
cheese dip right now.
Your cheese dip. So I mean, Emma cheated too. We both cheated.
Yeah.
I brought pasta. Emma brought cheese
Hey,
dip.
when the professionals come out, the gloves come
oh
off,
yeah, the
right?
gloves come off.
right, yeah.
Oh, it was a ton of fun though. I really enjoyed it. It was a
And
very
oven
well
mitts come
done
off.
event.
We, cash and prizes, merchandise and cash all included. We think we raised, because you don't know. I mean, people are donating items.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. We think we brought in somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500.
Which
That's
is
fantastic.
wonderful.
for
Good stuff.
newborns in
It's
need.
wonderful.
Love that.
Yes.
An hour and a half. So
And like I had somebody reach out to me after that and say, "Hey, I don't know a lot about Newborns in Need because it was the first time I'd participated in anything for them. I know it's a great organization." I had somebody reach out to me like, "Hey, that sounds interesting. Can I get more involved in that?" And I'm like, "I'm sure they would have. Here's the link. Here's the
Yep.
information." So that was
Or you
cool.
can send them here to the law firm, and we can point them in that direction
It's
too.
good to know. That's very good to know. It
Excellent.
was fun.
We can do that as well.
Because then we had the Valentine's dance Friday night too. It was a busy weekend.
Oh yeah,
and
I
that
know.
went great.
I had a packed weekend as well.
It was super packed. So we had PTA Valentine's Dance over at the Upper. That went awesome. Gosh, Deidre at Skinner's, that gal. If you could just want to eat food, it's delicious. But if you need a large catering job, Deidre is amazing. I mean,
they're great.
She is great, and the food is always good. It's very
So consistent. Yeah, that was the word I was going to use.
Super consistent. And it's reasonable, and I mean, I'm always impressed with Deidre's catering events over at Skinner's. We were lucky to have her, so I appreciate her.
Rogersville institution for a long time.
They're amazing.
Francis Kelly's our DJ. He does such a great job. He's so fun. He's so easy to communicate with. It was a great event, and I just liked that. It was fun.
Well, I got to say, we had a busy weekend too. Shayna had been sick, and then I kind of got this little bug. I'm not bad, but like she was, but just enough that by the time I got done preaching twice on Sunday morning, I was not up for a party anyway. So we had decided we're just the two of us at home Sunday night.
That's fun.
And I'm really glad given the outcome of the game because, we normally do a big block party of lots of people, and it would not have been a fun event. The vibe was not there.
Not in the mood to do a lot of counseling.
I drove to Kansas City yesterday to drop something off to my boys and take them to dinner. It really felt like it is.
Feel it.
You drove in, you just felt just like... it felt like driving into Seattle or something, just glum.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation because people here and I understand why they so deeply cared about the idea of making history. Everybody was so excited about it and pumped and involved. And then that's a big letdown. It really is. I get that.
They didn't just lose. I mean,
they just got their butt kicked.
Owned.
I think the Eagles were underestimated, and I don't know what happened with the Chiefs. I haven't watched the games
I think
all
the
year.
Chiefs tried to play the game they played all year, and the Eagles knew what they were going to do.
Yeah.
It
and I think
seemed that way.
If everybody can just kind of put it in perspective, Kansas City did not have a great year.
No,
right. True.
They're experienced enough to know how to win when they're not playing at their peak.
Yeah.
This team this season, lots of injuries, but also some turnover. They just had not really ever clicked all season long. And so if you look at how Philly ended their season, their last 6 or 7 games coming into the playoffs, or including the playoffs, they were in full stride. That performance by a defensive line, which is as good as you'll ever. The announcer said it right after I wasn't using my voice. He said it right after I was thinking it. There was a play, I think it was like second quarter, where Mahomes got sacked, and I was watching his footwork, which is usually superb. He was so antsy. And I was watching it going, man, his feet don't look set. And then, that was the one where he threw the interception. He was rushed and threw the first big interception. And it was a theme the rest of the game. He never felt comfortable. That poor offensive line just was getting...
I think that's what they did. Is they knew that. I think they knew they could get to the O-line and they just hit them hard and early.
That was the win right there.
I think they won it in the first 5 minutes of the game just because they put it in Mahomes' mind that he was in danger.
Yep.
And he knew for the rest of the game in the back of his mind he was going to be in danger because his O-line couldn't handle him.
Yeah.
And they proved that to him right early on, and he was off his game the rest of it.
It was really a display by the Eagles. You just have to tip your cap and say, wow. It
sucks for everybody when you have a game like that, too, where it's kind of just, you don't want the Super Bowl to be a blowout, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, even Eagles fans obviously were pumped about it, but I don't know. I do know the food at my house was awesome because I went full-blown New Orleans theme.
All right.
Because why not?
Absolutely.
And, oh, man, it was good. And I got some incredible Italian meats from Divine. Leading up to it, I got the mortadella and the capricola, and I'm probably pronouncing those wrong.
No, you got it. Capricola, anyway.
And mortadella is Italian bologna.
Gabagool.
It's amazing.
It's not capricola. It's
gabagool.
Gabagool. If you're
Tony
New
Soprano.
Gabagool.
But mortadella is like an Italian bologna.
It's a bologna.
But it does not taste like the bologna, the Oscar Mayer bologna, which I do enjoy.
It's a step up.
It's a step up. It's very good. And so we made that. My friend Grant made gumbo. Apparently spent 2 hours making his roux. I'm like, hey, Grant, you want to make gumbo? Because I didn't want to make gumbo.
That's the way you do it.
He did good. And then I made Bananas Foster banana pudding.
Oh, that's...
So there was a layer of Bananas Foster in the middle of the banana pudding.
And fire.
It was... Oh, yeah, I lit it on fire. Showed Evie, too. I was like, Evie, you want to see light this on fire? She's like, yeah, I did. It was fun.
That's fun. Well, good. I'm glad something went well.
Yeah, food
then
was
on
good.
Sunday afternoon.
It was my first attempt at homemade buffalo wings.
How'd it go?
We did wings
fine.
as well.
It took a long time because...
Did you smoke them?
No, I didn't. I had to steam them, and of course we're living in our remodeled basement right now, so I don't have all my tools. So
all my tools.
To steam these wings, I actually got a stock pot. I put water in it. I put a cooling rack on it. I put the wings on the cooling rack, and I put an 9 by 12 pan over the
Yeah.
wings on that, and so that the steam would be captured. And that worked. I steamed the wings that day. It took about 45 minutes to steam them.
Really?
Yeah.
And it took about another 45, 50 minutes in the oven on an air fryer setting
To get
crisp
crisp
them
them up.
And then, and I put salt on them before I
See,
steamed them.
I like the sound of that. I may have to
Interesting.
try that because
It's made really tender meat.
Yeah, it did.
that's what I'm getting at. Because
Yeah.
you know my thing about I like moist food, right? And so
Then
for
you-
it to be
Then you put the sauce
your microphone
on
is moist.
after, right? You put the sauce on after.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then they go in the bowl and you toss
Okay,
them.
because
yeah.
I think sometimes when you go to a wing place and they're just dry because they've been fried
Fried.
and just
Yeah.
done real quick
Baked,
and
just fried,
yeah.
just baked.
So I
But-
didn't even
but I
know
love
that was
the
the
idea of-
method for wings. Because when
Yeah.
you're talking steaming, I'm like, I don't want no rubbery skins.
No, you
but
steam
Yeah.
that
them
makes
first,
sense.
and then you cook them hot.
Then you get
Is that how
'cause
a lot of
when it's
restaurants
still
do
moist
it,
on the
right?
inside but has that good crisp
That
on the
makes
outside.
sense. How you
do it.
That's amazing.
we
that's how
have
you do it.
this super easy wing recipe that it's like a kickapoo recipe that was in stuff forever. You know what I mean? Like all the cookbooks that got handed down.
Yeah.
You boil them for
can
like
visualize
10 minutes the night before, and then you marinate them in like Frank's and butter and ranch and stuff overnight, and then you finish them in the oven. It's a dang good recipe
Yeah.
for like simple. Like the ratio of simple to taste is
Danielle with a
totally
comment
worth
there.
it.
Yeah, good teamwork from the Eagles. You bet.
Yeah, it was good. We have an Eagles fan watching. I like it.
There you go.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's
I know she would want to be called a fan, but
that's part of
maybe
the deal.
she would.
You gotta, you put a target on your back when
just
you're
hate to
like
label people.
the Chiefs. Well, earlier she said Eagles win! Exclamation mark.
Oh,
That was her
okay.
second
I
comment.
missed that.
I was
Sorry.
already in the know,
She's in
Will.
it. Okay.
I'm more in tune with
I was
our.
just-
Well, you are wearing
audience.
Eagle green, so
I know,
you
and
know.
I really didn't mean to do that. That's my Whistler Canada sweatshirt.
I thought you
somewhere.
lost a bet or something.
No, and I'm just wearing my Whistler sweatshirt
Okay.
because I got to do volunteer stuff today, so I'll
you
be
go.
out and about doing that.
I have a
But
hard time reading the comments because they're up there in the corner
Yeah.
where they're not supposed to be.
dun dun dun.
Oh, subtle jab at the producer.
So I feel like though we're in the let's see, not much is coming up though. Like
Hey, I got something.
Walkout Gala. It's coming up on the 22nd.
you know we're doing.
That's
You know
happening.
we've extended Thursday evening hours at the coffee shop.
tell
So
me about that.
So this Thursday is tutoring night.
That's a
So
smart idea.
In fact, I need to get something to you to send out to PTA if you
I
don't mind.
just thinking that, yes.
So yeah, if your kid needs help in any subject, here's what I'm certain of: parents trying to tutor their kids
It's
at
the
home,
worst.
you're just asking for the worst night of your life.
It's the worst. I
So
hate it.
yeah. So anyway, if your kid, especially we have tutors in math, all subjects, but be out
PTA
here
will
Thursday
post
night.
that
We just
for
want to
sure.
help kids.
All ages, right?
All ages. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So
Love it.
any level. I mean, we can help you with geometry, trigonometry,
I
all those things. So
love that. I
Yep.
think that's a wonderful thing to put out there.
Yeah.
100%.
I'll be happy to tutor people in the proper role of government.
there you go. Well, and
Yeah, go talk to Grunkle Will.
We'd love to have you if somebody needs help
Got a
with
Grunkle sweater on.
civics, social studies, whatever.
Sure. Yeah. we can do all
Yes,
that.
yes. So that's happening. LREF coming up.
LRfoundation.org. Go there, find out about Hats Off to Kids, I think is the theme this year. It's
fun.
White River Conference Room.
There you go. There you go.
there.
Every single
Yeah.
is there. And
It's a great
Oh,
event
yeah,
venue.
It is
It's
a
really-
great event space. It's
especially
really
in the
nice.
winter when you need
Yeah,
something.
it's
to
I
do.
want to talk about something real quick. I believe there's been an announcement of something coming to Rogersville. It's a big deal because my 2025 prediction for Rogersville, I haven't said this on the
We're
waffle
getting
yet.
to Buc-ee's.
No. Is some large thing, commercial business most likely, will make the decision to come to Rogersville this year, and it will start a domino effect.
Bum, bum,
This has
bum.
been my Rogersville prediction.
You heard it here. Walmart's coming.
It's based off of nothing other than a gut intuition. I want to say that right now. So I was making this prediction leading up to the new year. I'm like, it's going to happen. That all of the signs point to, I call it an anchor. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just
You've been looking at the goat entrails.
what? Yeah. Oh yeah. The tea leaves and goat entrail. Ew. Anyway,
That's
so this
what
has been
that
my prediction. We finally,
is all about.
the population, the whole thing, it's coming. And again, this is not based off of any insider information. It's based off of my gut. And could it happen in the year, 18 months, something like that. So then a couple weeks after that, I don't know Zach Dishman, but I do know he's done
oh yeah,
a ton.
I saw his deal.
He's
Yeah.
done a ton for Rogersville. He, has built a whole subdivision that I can't think of the name of right now, and I feel stupid for not being able to think of it.
That's not Sawyer Creek.
No, he's built the new one at
The one out
corner
past
of
it?
BV and no, that's somebody else. He's the one south of town that built at the corner of VV and Watts.
Oh.
It may
yeah,
be like
yeah.
I should know the name of it. anyway.
And this new edition's out that way too, right?
Yeah, so he announces that he's doing it's the first modern development, as in something that the trends are doing in commercial construction, right? Commercial and residential, which is mixed use. We're seeing the mixed use trend.
Yeah, it looks a lot like what my friend Randy Majors is doing out by the Amazon plant in
Exactly,
Republic.
out in Republic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is the trendy modern development right now, I'm going to say, and has been for the past couple of years, a mixed use development of living in commercial.
Define
together.
that, because that wasn't clear on the
It's,
statement. So mixed
yeah.
use.
It's an apartment
Yeah.
with a dispensary and donut shop.
Yes.
Vapes,
So
vapes,
you heard it here
dispensary,
first.
and
We're going to open the dispensary. So that's why I'm wearing green.
and that's what that's what Whistler actually is Whistler dispensaries.
Yeah, Whistler dispensaries and barbecue. So, no,
help
but
me.
mixed use is a combination of commercial and residential, right? I guess there's maybe other broader definitions of it, but that's what I
So
think
typically
of.
shops, apartments.
Shops, apartments,
maybe
living
homes.
quarters,
Yeah.
commercial and residential combined together. And so he has announced that he is building. Again, I don't know Zach, so I'm not speaking for him, but he posted out on his Facebook page. He's doing this, and it's like,
And a Dollar
and
General
I'm
being
gonna
there
say
too.
it's wrong. It's like 60 to 80 commercial or residential units, and then below is 24 commercial units,
Mm-hmm.
and he put room for food truck parking too. That may be my first domino. That may be
It could
my
be.
because
Could be.
the way I think that, people will look at that and they will say, "Oh, we've got a known quantified developer who has announced a modern style project in Rogersville."
Yep.
It's interesting.
Could be it.
It's very interesting. That may be the domino. I'm excited about it.
All right, well, it's exciting. We got to get off.
We gotta
gotta
go.
make way for Alex Bryant, Frontline Faith, coming in right at 9 o'clock here on Planet 417. Stay tuned for that, and we'll be back next week with more Morning Waffle.